It's Over Opinionated. Josh Clark.
Alright everyone, welcome back to Over Opinionated. Good to be back. It's been about a week since our last episode. Just a few small political updates. This whole episode is going to be somewhat political, and then we're going to go at the very end to part of the spiritual part, because it's not, this issue alone is just not political. But we do have a little bit of a political update. Donald Trump won the South Carolina primary, beating Nikki Haley in her own home state where she was a governor of. He had 60% of the vote and she had 40% of the vote. She's vowed to stay in the race for whatever reason. And to be fair, I would probably stay in the race too if I was her, because March 5th is Super Tuesday, where about 12 states go to the polls. But she lost the backing of a lot of donors. The Koch brothers have been backing her. Very rich Republican donors have been backing her, have now dropped out. So the money's going to stop flowing in. And when the money stops flowing in, it's normally it. But she's going to go on to probably to Super Tuesday, where she'll probably lose every state brutally. Remember, she was the governor of South Carolina, and she still lost by 20 points. Also, the state of Michigan held its primary yesterday on Tuesday. Donald Trump won 68.2% of the vote, so huge vote win for him. Nikki Haley won 26.5%, and then 3% uncommitted, basically saying no one. We'll switch over to the Democrat side. Joe Biden won 81.1% of the vote. He's an incumbent president. He's going to win by a very large margin. But 13% of the vote went to uncommitted. A lot of people in Michigan, especially a lot of the Democrats in Michigan, a section of them are very pro-Palestinian. There's actually a lot of there's actually quite a bit of Muslim Michigan voters in the Democratic Party. There's a fairly large amount of Muslim Democrats in Michigan, and especially the city of Dearborn. I think it's a majority Muslim city, believe it or not, and a lot of them went and voted for uncommitted, but Biden won overwhelmingly. Trump won overwhelmingly, and Super Tuesday will be here March the 5th. If you can go vote early, and if you don't vote early, definitely try to go and vote on March the 5th. Switching things over to local politics, going to the Commonwealth of Virginia, my home state. The Lieutenant Governor, Winston Sears, got in a bit of a controversy. So the Lieutenant Governor is also the head of the Senate in Virginia. So it's just like the Vice President is actually, Kamala Harris is actually the head of the Senate, the United States Senate. So on the state side, Winston Sears. I've met Winston in person. Very nice, very energetic. I really like Winston. She's an immigrant. She's from Jamaica, and she is also a Marine Corps veteran. I have a lot of respect for her, and obviously she's a person of color, being from Jamaica, and she's very outgoing, very, very well spoken, and a lot of things. Very country, down to earth type of person. She just says things the way they are, and kind of like Trump in a way. Not completely. She doesn't go out of her way to say offensive things. The big thing that got Winsome Sears into trouble is when she was proceeding over the Senate. Virginia has a transgender senator, a male to female transgender senator. So someone who was born as a male is biologically a male and identifies as a female. And in them going back and forth, it was an argument. She called the transgender senator a sir. Very slip of the tongue. Honestly, if you blink, you missed it. But obviously, Democrats being the Democratic Party of Virginia being the party that they are, wasted no time at blasting the lieutenant governor for calling the state senator a sir, even though that state senator was born as a male, was born with male appendage, and will die a biological male. We had to hit Senator Winsome Sears as hard as we possibly could. So I'm going to play you the video and see how non-offensive this really is. Like, if you're offended by this, honestly, you need to grow up. There's so many better things you can do in your life. But here we go.
Purpose is the senator from Prince William rise.
Madam President, rise for parliamentary inquiry.
The senator may state it.
Madam President, how many votes would it take to pass this bill with the emergency clause?
That would be 4/5, Senator.
And what would be the exact number for that, Madam President?
Yes, sir. That would be 32.
That was it. That was the extremely offensive thing that Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears said. she doesn't miss a beat. She just says yes. I feel like she could have done this to an actual woman, an actual biological woman on mistake. And I don't think the Democrats would have blinked an eye if she said this to an actual biological woman. But I'm going to read you some of the Democrats' tweets here's a tweet from the official Democratic Party of Virginia's Twitter account. Apology or no apology, we will not forget the smear at Winsome Sears. Show some respect for the position you have, and don't insult one of Virginia's finest public servants from the dial again. We will not forget. And that's after Winsome Sears apologized, which she shouldn't have done. That was her only mistake, was apologizing. You can never please the left-wing mob. They will always hate you. Apology, no apology. And the fact is, she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. Because that is a man. That person that's claiming to be a woman, are they a state senator? Yes. But just because you're a state senator doesn't mean you can change your gender. It doesn't mean you can change your gender. Biologically, they are a man. They were born a man. They will die a man. One of Virginia's finest public servants, because they're transgender. Just like one of the best Virginia public servants, Thomas Jefferson, or James Madison, or George Washington. This transgender senator. Yeah. Okay. Winsome, next time, please don't apologize. Okay, we're going to get into today's episode. Listen, if you're around kids, come back to this show, because this is going to be a hard topic. And if you're around someone that you don't want them to hear brutal things, go somewhere else because I don't want to shy away from it. Come back and listen to it. But today we're going to talk about abortion. That's why I say it's not just political, it's also spiritual. The whole reason I got into politics, the biggest reason ever, was to stop abortion. And I believe that all human beings are precious, and all human beings, all innocent human beings, regardless of where they are, or if they're in or outside of the womb, deserve equal protection under the law, and I believe that they deserve human rights. So, I can make an entire pro-life argument without one time lifting the pages in the Bible. And I'm going to do that for you right now. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about it from a spiritual perspective. And see, there's a reason why you have to be able to make a secular argument for why abortion is wrong. It's because all these atheists that hate God will always say, separation of church and state. Keep your Bible out of my uterus. Guess what? I don't care what's in your uterus. I don't want to be in your uterus. I just don't want you to murder human beings because you're a woman that didn't take the precautions to not have a baby, or in the vast majority of cases, so you just want to go kill your unborn baby. And we will talk about rape and incest later down the road. But the vast majority of abortions are always because of convenience purposes. Okay? And it's not because of rape or incest or life of the mother. People use those as an excuse to kill unborn babies all the way up to the moment of birth at 9 months. Okay? So, if we granted you that, when I'm talking to someone about abortion, I always say, well, let's put that aside, okay? If I let you have all those exceptions, would you still be okay with killing a baby at 9 months old in the womb? They almost 9 out of 10 times, yes, I would. So they're bringing that up to make an emotional argument. They're being dishonest. They're using victims of rape for their political points. And they're also saying people that are conceived in rape, basically you don't matter. You don't matter at all. So I'm going to go through a few examples of why abortion is murder from a secular perspective, then go into the spiritual. Number one, I identify my definition of murder is the unjust killing of an innocent human being. It has to be human. So abortion is the unjust killing of an innocent human being. They just haven't been born yet. That is the definition of murder that I am using. Okay. Now, definitions can be moved here and there. You could look at this dictionary versus this dictionary. The definition I'm using is the unjustified killing of an innocent human life. Okay, that's my first. That's my first get-go. That's my first statement. My second point is human life begins at fertilization, when the sperm enters an egg, making an embryo. That's when human life begins. I'm going to try to prove that point, and I believe I have through some studies. The biggest study being through Princeton University. And my third point is abortion destroys an unborn fetus, which is Latin for baby. Sometimes people will say, well, it's a fetus. It's an embryo. It's a zygote. Well, it's not a zygote the whole time, okay? But it's a fetus. That word literally means unborn offspring, unborn baby. It's a Latin word, okay? That would be like me saying this is a cheeseburger in English, and you saying the Spanish word for cheeseburger. Yeah, I get it. You are right. It is a fetus, which is a baby. So you're just camouflaging the word so you don't feel as bad about yourself when you kill that baby. Okay. So that is the premises I want to base it off of. I'm going to I'm going to read you a little study, right, a part of it from Princeton University. Okay, and you can type this up if you are looking for it on the internet. Type up when does life begin / Princeton, and it'll come right up for you. And the reason I'm using Princeton, it's an Ivy League school. A lot of leftists care a lot deeply about institutions, and some institutions are great, and it's actually more people in Princeton lean to the left than the right, just like the vast majority of colleges. But here is a study and a few references they have. Life begins at fertilization. The following references illustrate the fact that a new human embryo, the starting point for a human life, comes into existence with the formation of the one-celled zygote. A zygote is a fertilized egg, also known as an embryo. Development of the embryo begins at stage 1, when the sperm fertilizes an oocyte, and together they form a zygote. And it gives the credentials of the guy who wrote that and from what page. I'm going to go down and read another quote. Human development begins after the union of a male and female gametes, or germ cells, during a process called as fertilization. In parentheses, it says conception. Fertilization is a sequence of events that it begins with the contact of a sperm with a secondary oocyte, ovum, which ends with the fusion of the pronuclei and the meddling of the chromosomes to form a new cell. And listen, a lot of these terms are a lot harder to pronounce, but basically, and it has a few more scientists, biologists, stating the same thing. Basically, human life begins the very moment the sperm enters the egg. At that moment, it ceases to be just a father's DNA and the mother's DNA, and it comes together to form a unique human being in the earliest stages of development, forming an embryo, also known as a zygote. Okay, that zygote does not become a human being. It is a human being. Okay, you and I were once in the phase of a zygote. We were once in the phase of an embryo, and then as we grew, our body changed. They developed, but we never ceased to be that zygote. We never ceased to be that embryo. We are the same thing. Keep that in mind. So when someone just says, well, it's just a clump of cells, it looks weird. It's not like us, okay? Those are bad arguments. We don't give value to human life on the size of it. There are some people that are smaller, and there's some people that are bigger. There are some people with medical differences that are really small. They're tiny people, to use a nice term. There are some people with gigantism, and they are both human beings. Scientifically speaking, they are a part of the Homo sapien race. They are human beings. Okay? We don't say that Andre the Giant was worth more than someone on a TLC documentary about little people, do we? No, they're both human beings. Okay? Well, they look weird. Well, guess what? Sometimes our grandparents look weird because they're getting old. Does that mean they're not human beings? No, they're still human beings, and they still have value. Okay? We go to the argument of, well, it's inside my body, bodily autonomy. Well, that human being, that zygote, also would have bodily autonomy. And all pro-life people want you to do is be able to have a healthy child and make it be born. And if you're not able to take care of the kid, put it up for adoption. And yes, I understand not everything in the world is great with adoption. People confuse adoption with foster care. Not the same thing. Foster care is designed to get people to back to their parents and have foster parents watch them. A lot of times that doesn't happen. A lot of foster kids were from bad situations with their home life parents, so they go there. And babies normally get adopted a lot faster than other children. New married couples that can't conceive want to start with a brand new baby. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that is true. Okay, so don't confuse the foster care system with adoption. Not the same thing at all. I understand, and sometimes in some situations it would be better for a mother to give up her child for adoption. And I think adoption is actually beautiful, that a family would willingly take in a baby and that is not of their own blood and raise it and love it as their own. I think that's pretty awesome. And I think if you're a mom in that situation, I think you're very heroic for not murdering the baby when the whole world keeps telling you that it's your body, your choice. Go ahead and kill the baby. So, and there's another pro-choice argument. I think it's a very weak one, and we'll be talking about a few pro-choice arguments. A very weak pro-choice argument is, well, even if it's alive, even if it is a human being, what about eviction? We have the right to, if you rent, you have the right to evict someone. Well, yes, that's true. You do have the right to evict someone. You don't have a right to kill someone, though. You don't have a right to kill them and drag them out of the apartment, drag them out of the trailer. That's what abortion does. It kills them. So there's a difference there. And all we are doing is allowing nature to take its course. That's all we want. We don't want you to be superhero. We don't want you to be Wonder Woman. Just allow nature to take its course. And the only exception, I just want to preference this, the only real two exceptions I make for abortion is the life of the mother, and I consider it a tragedy, not an opportunity to kill the unborn. It is a tragedy if we lose the unborn, but I would rather lose one life than two. Okay, and that is not the majority of abortions. The majority of abortions is not life of the mother, and I would never fault a mother for getting an abortion to save her own life if her and the baby were going to die. Okay, I don't know hardly anyone that would take that position. Also, and if the baby has already passed away in the womb, not if the baby is going to have some medical complications, not the baby is going to be born with Down syndrome, and it is dead wrong. I'm just going to preference this. There is a movement, and it does happen. Doctors will tell you, well, your baby could be born with Down syndrome, very likely, or it is going to be born with Down syndrome. Would you like to get an abortion? A lot of countries in Europe are using abortion to kill people with Down syndrome. It is just eugenics, but it is preborn eugenics. You're just murdering them because they have Down syndrome. That's evil. You are killing someone because of a disability they were born with. That's evil. That's evil. We would call it evil outside of the womb. It's also evil inside of the womb. Let's not confuse it. Aborting people because they have a condition like Down syndrome is wrong. It's evil. So, but if the baby has already passed away in the womb, I would allow for a quote-unquote abortion in that sake. But I just want to clarify, when people think of abortion, that word, even if it's medically called an abortion, like a DNC, a dilation contraction abortion, maybe that's the medical term. But when people think of the word abortion, they think of the unjustified killing of human beings. So when they say they won't want any abortion, the vast majority of pro-life people, the vast majority of us would always say we have exceptions for life of the mother when the baby passes away in the womb, and then pro-life people fight about the exception of rape and incest. We will get onto that later on. I got a few more things I want to cover. Forgive me, this is probably the fastest I've ever talked in my life, and it probably won't happen again. Okay, well, a lot of people wonder where I've got all my information from. Multiple different sources, but actually, I go straight to the horse's mouth on about how abortion is done. I go right to Planned Parenthood, which is, I think, an evil, genocidal organization. When I say that, just to clarify, if any crazy person does anything that's wrong, I call for no violence to any abortion clinic ever. Just, we'll get that off the record right now. But with that being said, I think these things need to be legally shut down, and prayfully they will. But I'm going to play you an ad that Planned Parenthood has about abortion. There's a couple of them. There's two different types of abortion. Well, there's more than that, but there's two different normal types of abortion. You have the abortion pill, which is different from Plan B, and also a surgical abortion. Here is an ad produced by Planned Parenthood, and it can just give you a little bit of information, then we will read some.
There are two kinds of abortion, the abortion pill and in-clinic abortion. In-clinic abortions are also called surgical abortions. During an in-clinic abortion, a doctor, nurse, or other healthcare provider empties your uterus using gentle suction and sometimes other medical tools. For most people, an in-clinic abortion feels like strong period cramps, but everyone's experience is different. The medical staff will help make your abortion as comfortable as possible. You'll get medications to make it hurt less, and you might get medicine to help you relax or sleep through the procedure. You might have a little cramping after your abortion, and you'll probably want to take it easy for a few hours, but most people can go back to their normal activities the next day. Before your abortion, you'll have an exam and lab tests, and possibly an ultrasound. And you'll meet with a nurse, doctor, or other staff to talk about your options and make sure abortion is the right decision for you. Sometimes the decision to have an abortion is simple. Other times, it's more complicated. But either way, it's your decision. Only you know what's right for you. Abortion is very common, and it's also very safe, and serious problems are extremely rare. Laws about abortion are different depending on the state you live in. There may be waiting periods or other restrictions before you can get an abortion, and it may be harder to get an appointment for an abortion after the 12th week of pregnancy. So if you're considering abortion, talk to a healthcare provider as soon as you can, so you have as many options as possible. The caring staff at Planned Parenthood are experts at providing safe abortion and supporting you throughout the process. They can answer your questions, give you accurate information about all of your options, and offer non-judgmental support, no matter what you decide to do about your pregnancy. To find out more about your abortion options, call your local Planned Parenthood Health Center or visit PlannedParenthood.org. Activities the next day.
So, yeah, so Planned Parenthood tells you how they murder children. The line that is most astonishing is it's mostly safe. They're only talking about the woman getting an abortion. They're not talking about the baby they're sucking out with a tube. Yeah, they're very gentle with their words. I mean, you can tell what they're saying. You can tell what's going on. But, they're not going to tell you how awful and how graphic and how evil it is. But let me just read you. An in-clinic, what are the types of abortion? An in-clinic abortion works by using suction to take a pregnancy out of your uterus, to take a baby out of your uterus. There are a couple of kinds of in-clinic abortion. Your doctor or nurse will know which type is right for you depending on how far along you are into your pregnancy. Suction abortions, also called vacuum aspirations, is the most common type of in-clinic abortion. It uses gentle suction to empty your uterus. It might be gentle to you. It's not gentle to the baby you're ripping apart by sucking it through a tube and sucking its all its body parts out. That's not really gentle to him. It just kills it. It's the most common type of in-clinic abortion. It uses gentle suctions to empty your uterus. It usually is used between 14 and 16 weeks after your last period. Dilation and evasion is another type of in-clinic abortion procedure. It is used to suctions the material tools to empty your uterus. You can get a D and E later in a pregnancy that aspirates the abortion. Usually, if it's between 16 weeks or longer, you're between your period, and it just goes on and on and on. It's horrific. I mean, it is. It absolutely is horrific. We also have the abortion pill, which is a lot more common. It's being used up until 11 weeks of your pregnancy, and they also have a horrific ad about it. We'll play it, but the abortion pill is a lot more common, and that's a lot scarier. A lot more people, even if you're in a pro-life state, you can order an abortion pill from a different state, and there needs to be more laws cracking down on that somehow. We need to just criminalize abortion and not protect anyone. If you're going to kill a baby, if you're a doctor or this or that, there should be some punishment. If you're sending a woman an abortion drug, there should be some punishment. And the government, these state governments, and preferably one day the national government, has to educate women that abortion is killing a baby. Not just women, all people. But people like Planned Parenthood, people like all these people, or all these pro-choice, pro-murder, pro-abortion people make it out that it's not really a baby. Or even if it is a baby, it's still your body, your choice. They'll slap a bumper sticker slogan on it. And they just have such hard hearts. And it's, you get your Bible off of my uterus and crap like that. When I don't care what they do with themselves, I do care that they are killing my unborn neighbor, that they are killing people that there's people out there that I will never know that have been aborted, that could have been my classmates, that could have been my doctor, my neighbor. These are my fellow human beings. So I will not stop fighting for their rights to live. And I don't care if you say, my body, my choice, I hate your religion, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to fight to the day I die to protect unborn human babies. Okay? And I will use secular arguments like I have been. Okay? And guess what? If you claim to be a Christian, I will hit you as hard as I physically can, metaphorically speaking, with the Word of God, because you are wrong, you are in rebellion, and you are in sin. Okay, let's play the ad about how they kill babies with pills instead of a surgical abortion.
There are two kinds of abortion: in-clinic abortion and medication abortion, also known as the abortion pill. You can usually take the abortion pill during the first 11 weeks of pregnancy. If you're more than 11 weeks pregnant, ask your nurse or doctor about in-clinic abortion. When you use the abortion pill, you actually take two different medicines to end a pregnancy: mifepristone and misoprostol. First, you'll take mifepristone. Mifepristone works by blocking the hormone progesterone, which stops your pregnancy from developing. Then you take the second medicine, misoprostol, either right away or up to 2 days later. This causes cramping and bleeding that empties your uterus. The cramping and bleeding can last for several hours, so plan ahead to make the process more comfortable. You can be at home or wherever is comfortable for you to rest. Taking a hot shower, using a heating pad, or taking ibuprofen or medicine from your nurse or doctor can help with cramps. Your nurse or doctor will give you written instructions and a number you can call with any questions. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For most people, the process takes about 5 hours, but it may take up to 24 hours to be totally finished. The abortion pill process is very similar to an early miscarriage. It's normal to have lots of cramping and bleeding, and to pass clots and tissue, like a really heavy period. You may also have an upset stomach, diarrhea, dizziness, or a mild fever. You may be tired and have a little cramping for a day or two afterwards, but you can go back to work or school the next day if you feel up to it. The last step is a follow-up with your nurse or doctor to make sure the abortion worked and that you're healthy. Before your abortion, you'll have an exam and lab tests and possibly an ultrasound. And you'll meet with a nurse, doctor, or other staff to talk about your options and make sure abortion is the right decision for you. Sometimes the decision to have an abortion is simple. Other times, it's more complicated. But either way, it's your decision.
Yeah. So they go into their propaganda about either way, it's your decision to kill a baby. So the abortion pill creates a miscarriage. It's what it does. And it's a lot of people are starting to do this more than the surgical. It costs less. And it's more convenient. You don't have to have a surgery. The problem is after so long it doesn't work. You have to go and rip the baby limb for limb and suck it through a tube. Is that graphic? Yeah, it's graphic. It's also the truth. It's also what happens. And and women and men will fight to kill babies with everything they got inside of them because they believe that's their right. This is the left. This is the Democrats' sacred cow is abortion. Don't ever touch Roe v. Wade. Well, Roe v. Wade is gone now by the grace of God. And we're saving more babies from pro-life legislatures. But it is true that in every locality in the United States that you can still have an abortion with an abortion pill. Because even if your state makes it against the law, even if that's true, you can get those pills in because they're not cracking down on that. We have to find a better way. We just need to make it against the law to transport abortion drugs into these pro-life states. That's just all it is. And we got to criminalize it. If we find someone is taking an abortion pill, there needs to be a consequence. I know a lot of pro-lifers are against ever punishing a woman, but we would never be against punishing a woman that killed her baby outside of the womb. So let's be consistent. I'm not saying that we give them the maximum penalty that we would for killing someone outside of the womb. I'm not saying that, but there needs to be some punishment that says no, in this state, in this by the decree of the law, you will not murder a baby just because you're pregnant. You will not murder that baby. We have to have that. And that goes same for the boyfriend that pushes a woman into doing it. He should get in trouble. And it goes same or double for a doctor. In this state, if you're a pro-life state, go all the way, make exceptions for life of the mother when the baby passes away, and say, we are a pro-life state, we are against abortion, and you will not kill your baby here. And if you do, you will get in trouble. And is that very popular? No. Is that even very popular with a lot of Republicans? No, it's not. But I don't care. It's what's right. That is what is morally right. Notice I didn't bring up the Bible. Notice I didn't bring up God. Was I thinking about him when I said it? Yeah. Yeah, partially, yes, I was. But you can't just suck the religion out of my head like you can suck a head out of a baby in a tube of a uterus like you would like. That's part of who I am, and I have a right to that, and I have a right to that when I go to the ballot box. Your separation of church and state has polluted your mind so much that you don't even know what the term means anymore. It means that the church does not get to rule the state. That doesn't mean that religious people don't vote based on their convictions. It never meant that. Alright, guys, I'm actually going to play. It's quite a bit a long video, actually. It's a former abortion doctor, Dr. Anthony Levantino, who became pro-life after a horrible incident. And he is testifying to Congress several years ago, and you can't argue with me and say it's not a baby when this man was an abortionist and he performed multiple abortions over his career before he stopped and became pro-life. And you can't just say, well, it's not really a baby. I mean, when this guy saw that it was on multiple occasions, he performed these abortions. I'm gonna play you a 5-minute clip. If you don't want to listen to it, you can skip to the five minutes from now, but I encourage you to listen to it. Thank you very much.
Members of the committee, I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to get right to it. Second trimester D&E abortions performed between roughly 14 and 24 weeks of gestation. Your patient today is 17 years old. She's 22 weeks pregnant. Her baby is the length of your hand plus a couple of inches. And she's been feeling her baby kick for the last several weeks, but she's asleep on an operating room table. You walk into that operating room scrubbed and gowned, and after removing laminaria, you introduce a suction catheter into the uterus. This is a 14 French suction catheter. If she were 12 weeks pregnant or less, basically the width of your hand or smaller, you could basically do the entire procedure with this. But babies this big don't fit through catheters this size. After suctioning the amniotic fluid out from around the baby, you introduce an instrument called the Sofer clamp. It's about 13 inches long. It's made of stainless steel. The business end of this clamp is about 2.5 inches long and a half-inch wide. There are rows of sharp teeth. This is a grasping instrument. When it gets a hold of something, it does not let go. A D&E procedure is a blind abortion, so picture yourself introducing this and grabbing anything you can blindly and pull, and I do mean hard, and out pops a leg about that big, which you put down on the table next to you. Reach in again, pull out an arm about the same length, which you put down on the table next to you, and use this instrument again and again to tear out the spine, the intestines, the heart, and lungs. Head in the baby that size is about the size of a large plum. Can't see it, but you pretty good idea you got it if you've got your instrument around something and your fingers are spread about as far as they go. You know you did it right if you crush down on the instrument and white material runs out of the cervix. That was the baby's brains. Then you could pull out skull pieces. And you have a day like I had a lot of times. Sometimes a little face comes back and stares back at you. Congratulations, you just successfully performed a second trimester D&E abortion. You just affirmed her right to choose.
Why did you end your practice of doing abortions?
I did over 1,200 abortions over a 4-year period in private practice, not counting the ones that I did during my training. I met my wife during my first year of training at Albany Medical Center. We got married about a year later and found that we had an infertility problem. After years of failed infertility treatment and several years trying to adopt a child, we were blessed with adopting a little girl that we named Heather in August of 1978. As sometimes happens in those situations, my wife got pregnant the very next month, and we had 2 children 10 months apart. 2 months short of my daughter Heather's 6th birthday, she was killed in an auto accident and literally died in her arms in the back of an ambulance. Anyone who has children might think they have some idea of what that feels like, but unless you've been through it yourself, you have no idea whatsoever. I know people find it hard to believe, but what do you do after disaster? You bury your child and then you go back to your life. And I don't remember exactly how long it was after my daughter died that I showed up at Albany Medical Center OR number 9 to perform my first second trimester D&E abortion. I wasn't thinking of it as anything special. This was routine to me. But I reached in, literally pulled out an arm or leg and got sick. You know, earlier on I described stacking up body parts on the side of the table. It's not to, gross people out, to use a simple term. When you do an abortion, you need to keep inventory. You have to make sure you get 2 arms and 2 legs and all the pieces. If you don't, your patient's going to come back infected, bleeding, or dead. So I soldiered on and finished that abortion. And I know it sounds, as I said, hard for people to believe, but I'm telling you straight up my experience. You know, after over 1,200 abortions, first and second trimester up to 24 weeks and all the rest of it, and being very dedicated to it, for the first time in my life, I really looked. I really looked at that pile of body parts on the side of the table. And I didn't see her wonderful right to choose, and I didn't see all the money I just made. All I could see was somebody's son or daughter. And I stopped doing late-term abortions after that, and several months later stopped doing all abortions.
It's kind of hard to follow up after that. And it's not my first time watching this testimony or hearing from this former abortion doctor. It's something that makes you. I mean, he said that he performed over 1,200 abortions in his career, and man, it just makes you think. 1,200 times he killed somebody, and he's only one doctor, and it makes you sick. It makes your stomach drop. I mean, it makes your heart drop into your stomach. And people are defending this with every bit of their bones and every bit of their life. And every abortion doctor knows about this. All of them. And you don't even have to be an abortion doctor. You could be a nurse inside of the room. You could be, you could just be seeing all of it, man. Anybody with any medical training, it kills me when they are pro-choice. They see these ultrasounds. They've studied anatomy. I'm a redneck with a computer, a cell phone, and a heart for the unborn. And I know that this is murder. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to have a college degree to know this is murder. You can't lie to us anymore. The pro-choice movement cannot lie to us and tell us this is not human life. Science tells us it's human life. Biology tells us it's human life. And your only arguments is it's my body, my choice. Your best arguments, a lot of your arguments are bumper stickers, and even your best arguments aren't great. It really humbles me and sickens me that people support this. And you know, even if I get in trouble, and listen, I have been unpopular in Republican Party circles. Well, that's the party of life. Yeah, but guess what? The quote-unquote party of life a lot of times caves to popular demand because they have to get elected because, well, we can't go past 15 weeks. That's not popular. Or this or that. And listen, I'm fine with doing incremental steps to stop abortion. I would rather save, if I would sign a bill passing a bill banning abortion after 15 weeks. Okay, because it's better to have that bill than have no protection for babies past 15 weeks. If you have the bill, they have a bill that is saying it is against the law after 15 weeks. There's a legal protection there. If you don't have it at all, it just says you can murder all the way up. And, or whatever. And a lot of European countries, actually, you know, I did criticize a lot of European countries for for a lot of them aborting people with Down syndrome. But a lot of them have more conservative restrictions on abortion with the timeline. 15-week abortion ban is not unheard of in Europe. And I want to read you just a little bit. This is from myclevelandclinic.org. They do a lot of fertility stuff and whatnot, being a clinic. I want to just read you some of the early stages of human development, and even though I believe life begins at conception, I just want to show you kind of what the developmental phases is. This is the first month and weeks 1 through 4. Although, I'm just reading from their website, although it's strange, the first 2 weeks of pregnancy are a getting ready period. Your body slowly releases more hormones, and your uterus prepares for a potential pregnancy. At the end of the second week, your ovaries release an egg. If sperm meet an egg just over the process, the pregnancy continues. Week 3. Fertilization occurs during the third week. A sperm and an egg join and create a zygote. Week 4. The tiny bundle of cells turns into a platyclast and implants into the uterine lining. The beginning of what will become the placenta forms. A water sac forms around the platyclast, and this is the ultimate sac, and it provides cushion to the fetus during the pregnancy. By the end of the fourth week, the bioclast is about 2 millimeters long, and is the size of a poppy seed. This is the second month, week 5 through 8. The second month of pregnancy is when the most people realize they're pregnant. Pregnant hormones go into an overdrive, and for about the 5th of the week, an at-home pregnancy test will show you as positive. This is when many people begin to feel symptoms of pregnancy. Week 5, the natural tube, brain, pain, spinal cord, and other natural tissues of the central nervous system forms the tiny heartbeat, will beat 110 times a minute by the end of the 5th week. 6, tiny buds that become arms, legs, and develop blood cells are taking shape, and crucial will begin. Structures that will become the ears, eyes, mouth take form. Your heart, your healthcare provider can probably detect a heartbeat on the vaginal ultrasound. So it's 6 weeks the heart starts beating. That's why a lot of states are passing heartbeat bills saying when the heart starts beating, if you can detect a heartbeat on an ultrasound, you cannot kill that baby. Do I want to go further than that? Yeah. But a 6-week ban is pretty freaking good. And I also think that a lot of these pro-life states need to have pregnant women go into places that do abortions. If you have a 6-week ban and you have a woman that's around that, say, yeah, go in there. And we'll employ these. We have to keep these people honest. We can't just have the doctor say, "Oh, heart's beating, but let me move the ultrasound just a little bit so we can go ahead and kill this baby." Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So we need to have states go and inspect them. We inspect restaurants. We inspect grocery stores. We inspect schools. We should definitely inspect hospitals and abortion clinics. So I don't want abortion clinics, but if you're going to have them, you should inspect them. It goes on and on and on. You can keep reading that. Okay, that is my secular argument. I didn't one time pick up the Bible and I gave you clear instructions why it's murder. But now, if you're a Christian, you claim to be Christian, this is obviously murder. Okay, let's get into the spiritual. There is no debate about it. Abortion is a sin. It is wrong. It is murder. There are several Bible verses that talk about unborn human beings being alive, and their mother's womb, and God counted them. The most famous one, of course, is, and we'll make this the Bible verse of the day. This New King James Version is Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. And it's talking about Isaiah. It's talking about Jeremiah, forgive me. And some people will say, well, see, it says before I formed you. So that's even before they're, yeah, okay. but he also knows you when you are in the womb, okay? That's a very pro-life verse. You're not going to wiggle your way around it. And then some people will say, well, it's just talking about one person. Do you think God, do you really think God doesn't know everyone in the womb? Okay, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. And then we have the example of John the Baptist leaping within his mother's womb when Jesus was also a baby in his mother's womb. We'll read that real quick. Okay, here is, I'm going to be reading you a little passage from Luke, the New International Version, chapter 1, verses 41 through 40. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leapt in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. In a loud voice she proclaimed, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the child you will bear. But why am I so favored that the mother of my Lord should come to me? As soon as the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the baby in my womb leapt with joy." So John the Baptist leapt with joy with Jesus in the womb, because the Holy Spirit was on John the Baptist inside the womb. If you're a Christian, if you're pro-choice, do not claim to be Christian. That's just how it is. Josh, that's hard, that's mean, that's facts. Okay? You're going against the Bible. Now listen, can you be a baby Christian and be saved and still think this is a woman's right to choose and believe all the propaganda from the left? Yeah, for a little bit. But you're going to have to come to pass. Who am I going to listen to? Am I going to listen to God's Word? Am I going to listen to the Bible? Or am I going to listen to, am I going to listen to my political convictions? And a lot of people keep going for political convictions, so they keep killing babies and claim to be Christians. Or they keep voting for people who kill babies and keep being Christians. They keep supporting the right to kill babies and keep being Christians. There's a lot of stuff in the topic of abortion. I've put a lot of research into it over the years, and I haven't gave you everything about it. We can go over some of the arguments. My body, my choice. Well, that's a bumper sticker slogan. So, I believe that you have the right to choose to do with your body whatever you wish, as long as you're not killing a human being. Abortion kills another human being. Therefore, I don't think you can do it. There's the stupid fiddler on the roof thing. Is if one day you woke up and they call it the fiddler on the roof argument. One day you woke up and you were attached to the fiddler on the roof, and your blood, your vital organs is helping him live, and he can get by with that if you just wait 9 months. Well, there's a few false presumptions. Number one, this random stranger is not my child that I consented to make. Number two, he's not inside the body with a natural process. It's a false equivalency. Okay, it's a false equivalency. It's not a true argument. There's this argument about if you could save one baby. If there's a train track, you can save one born baby, or you can save 50 embryos. So now, if I save the born baby, does that mean the 50 embryos don't matter? Or does that mean that there's already a life that has been born? I still think that 50 embryos are valuable. But I don't know if those embryos are going to be born. I don't know if they're not frozen, they might not make it too long. I don't know if they're just going to be discarded. So yeah, I'm going to pick the child. And I believe pro-lifers have never made the argument that all human life is equally valuable. We say it is all valuable, though. If there were two 90-year-olds, okay, those are human beings, and they're on the train tracks, and there's one born baby, I pick the baby, because that baby's got a lot longer he can live. So you're forcing me to pick something, but that doesn't mean the 90-year-old men didn't deserve to live. It's a stupid argument, okay? I'm just because I would save this or that, or does that mean that that individual doesn't deserve equal protection under the law? Okay, and I want to get into something. A lot of people don't realize there's also a group of people, they don't call themselves pro-life, even though I would make the argument that they kind of are still, but they call themselves abolitionist. There are some abolitionists that a group that I wouldn't want to associate with what I have seen, but there are some like Abolitionist Rising that are very good, and their position is abolish all human abortion and punish anybody that kills an unborn human being, including the mother. And I actually believe that. Now, do I believe that everyone should get a death penalty, or no? But should there be some type of punishment? Yes. And there should be information campaigns by governments to notify people that this is a moral blot on society and it's wrong. But they would say that they're not pro-life, they're abolitionist. And when they say they're abolitionist, they mean they want to abolish human abortion. They also make the argument, and they are 100% right, that slavery and abortion are very similar, and the people that supported both of them make similar arguments. The people that supported slavery of African Americans always said they're not really human, they're black. People that support abortion say they're not really human, they're unborn. They're plantation owners would say, and this was a saying, they would say, my plantation, my prerogative. If you don't want a slave, don't have one. Okay? If you don't want an abortion, don't have one. And the abolitionist of slavery said, no, these are human beings made in God's image. What you're doing is a sin. Repent and allow them to be free. What we are doing, and I would consider myself a pro-life abolitionist, okay? I'm for life and the abolishment of abortion. I would say the unborn, the preborn human being deserves life, equal protection under the law, and deserves to be alive. Well, my body, my choice. Well, guess what? That is my brother. That is my, well, maybe not physically and literally, but that is my human being made in the image of God. And just because you don't recognize that, just because you don't believe that, and just because you hate God, doesn't change that. It doesn't, man. And I'm not going to stop fighting for it. And then there's the no uterus, no opinion. So because I don't have a uterus, I don't get an opinion about murdering unborn human beings. Well, you don't know, you can't get raped, you can't get pregnant, you can't get this and that, this. Well, no, I can't. But I can tell you it's wrong to kill a human being. That is what is wrong. The no uterus, no opinion thing is the dumbest argument, because those are my human beings. That's the same argument plantation owners had. You don't have a plantation. You don't have all this and that. My plantation, my prerogative. If you don't have one, don't talk about it. If you're not from here, don't talk about it. Guess what? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say, and I'm going to scream, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to do everything I can legally, and I'm going to pray to end abortion. And you went, well, your prayers don't really work. Well, it worked to overturn Roe, and it will work to end abortion, and maybe it won't happen in my lifetime. But if Christ tarries, if he doesn't come back yet, and if I do think abortion will end eventually in the United States of America and one day around the world. I do. With all my heart, I do. Maybe it'll take a while. And I mean that legally. There's always going to be mothers and fathers that go and kill their babies in and out of the womb. People kill their babies that are born now out of the womb. Okay? Just because you make it against the law doesn't mean it won't happen. But it does help protection, and it does slow it down. And every life saved matters. Every life saved matters. I will not stop fighting for unborn human beings. I won't do it. You can hate me from it. You can kick me out of the Republican Party. If the Republican Party becomes pro-abortion, I'm gone. If, I've already made some, I wouldn't say enemies, but I've made people unhappy for being as pro-life as I am, so be it. I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to fight for unborn babies. That's what I'm here for. It's not the only thing I care about, but it is a big thing. I do want to talk about rape and incest. At the very beginning, when I started thinking about politics seriously, and when I was pro-life, but I did make the exception of rape and incest because my idea was, first of all, is if a woman gets raped, it's not her choice to have the baby, and if it's incest, it could be born with defects and everything. And I have all the sympathy and love in the world for a woman who gets raped. But the question that comes to mind is, what is right? And a baby that is conceived in rape is just as much a baby that is conceived with consent. So there's no difference biologically. And I think it's wrong to kill a baby because you were raped. I still think it's dead wrong. I think it's a sin. What I think we should do is we should all come around the mother, get her the mental help she's going to need. We're going to give her the help that she needs to raise the baby if she chooses, or to give the baby up for adoption. When it comes to incest, the baby might come out a little different. It might come out not the best, but we still need to give it its chance at life. Well, so we're just going to kill it because we're just going to kill it because the sins of the father. Even if it was consensual, we're going to kill it because the sin of the father and the mother. If you are going to punish someone for rape, punish the rapist. Do not punish the baby. And that's that always happens. In rape, the baby is always given the death sentence for what the father did. And that's morally repugnant and wrong. It's morally wrong. So my prayer for America is that we repent of the sin of abortion, that we will embrace a culture of life, that we will protect all human beings from the beginning of conception, from the womb to the tomb, and we respect and love all human beings. Abortion is wrong. It's a sin. And God's going to judge us for it as a nation. And listen, if you made it this far, don't let this be the only thing you listen to, and don't let all my words go. Study to show yourself approved. Go out there and try to change hearts and minds. The biggest thing about why abortion is so big is because of hard hearts. People have hard hearts. I think they suppress the truth. People know. Not everyone, because Planned Parenthood's lied to everybody. Abortion doctors know. People in the medical field that's got medical degrees, they know. A lot of people know this is a baby, but they think they have the right to kill it. Hillary Clinton in 2016, she took a very radical position of killing the baby all the way to 9 months. And a lot of people rejected that. I even met one of my mom's friends who said I was always pro-choice. But at 9 months, that's a baby. Well, we need to convince people that it's a baby throughout all pregnancy. And remember, Democrats used to say safe, legal, and rare. It wasn't all the way up to 9 months. Safe, legal, and rare. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. If you think about gallbladder surgeries, I want them to be safe. I want them to be legal, but I don't really care if they're rare. I don't care if the surgeries are rare. The only reason they added the rare part is because people don't. There is still a lot of people that are iffy about abortion or don't like abortion, and because they know it's killing a baby. So why would you want to make something rare if it's not killing a baby, if it's just a procedure? Who cares? And it's only safe for the mother, and God forbid it should never be legal. Only in 2 instances: the life of the mother, and when the baby has already passed away, sadly, in the womb. I fight very hard. Outside of the gospel of Jesus Christ, this is the second biggest thing that I want to fight for and that I want to see stopped. It is a genocide. The amount of numbers we are killing is a genocide. We are killing unborn human beings. That is the demographic. And we are killing them by the thousands and by the millions. There's actually a few more things I was going to get to today, but I'm actually out of time. So we might have to do a follow-up. I appreciate if everyone go follow me on Twitter at NRV_guy79. You can follow Over Opinionated at Facebook, Over Opinionated. And I also have a Twitter for the show. But God bless you all. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you for listening to the show. Please spread this show. Please tell people about this. That's how we grow. And even if I only have 5 people or 4 or 1 or 0, well, I'm going to keep doing this because I'm doing this for me. I want to release a show that I would like to listen to. I'm also doing this for God, and even, I think about my grandpa when he preached at one of his first churches in Rural Retreat, Virginia. Started out with very little people, and he started off with very little people. I think they had 5, and ended out with a lot. But even if it only had 5, he would go there every week and preach the gospel to them. He preaches at a small church now. He's had bigger churches, but he's 82 years old, so he does smaller churches now, just for his health. It's a lot easier on him. But he, even though he has a smaller church, goes there every week. He knows those people need the gospel. Now, I try to give y'all guys the gospel on when it comes to biblical stuff, but it's also a political show. I'm not saying I'm like my grandfather. I'm not even saying this is completely the same thing. It's not. But it's the same principle. Same principle. I plan on going on the Darrell McLean show, my good podcasting buddy, this weekend. I think we're going to try to do something on Sunday, so I don't know exactly when that'll air. It'll probably be out next week on Monday or Tuesday. And we'll probably talk about the presidential election and a few other things. But please pray and spread the word of the show. I hope y'all have a great week. Jesus is Lord and King. And I will see you back here later.